Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah ala ni'mah shamila wal ahil kamila. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Muhammad al-Mustafa wa ala alihi al-Mujtaba. Amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وأصحاب سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا نور الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين सबसे औला हमारा नबी. If you expect to have language leaf afterwards, then I suggest you give me a reply. Because if I do not get a reply back, then do not expect any blessed food to be entering your mouth to your stomach. सबसे औला सबसे बाला अपने मौला का प्यारा दोनों आलम का दूल्हा खल्क से औलिया औलिया से रसूल और रसूलों से आला. सुभान अल्लाह. Now I know that you are awake. Subhanallah, you had some fantastic quotes, blessed quotes under the blessed name of Rasulullah Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now in Islam, there are many flags. And many flags are used during the battle. But the one flag that is used by the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah of today is a blessed flag that is above your heads right now. Because why? Myself, all of us, we are nothing but what? We are just about the dust on top of the blessed sandals of Rasulullah Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And that is why you have great ulama and shuyukh who delivered the truth, and many more to come as well. And in the presence of, what can I say, such nur. If you look at them, nur. If you look around them, nur. And if you look to your right, you look to your left, in front and behind you, you see nur. Now an individual came up to me, it's quite some time ago, and he asked me, this is during the Quran session, I was given dance from Cheshire. And this individual asked me that how much should we love Rasulullah Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Is there limit? And I gave him one answer. And I started with the hadith of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده ووالده والناس أجمعين. That none of you is a true believer until you love me more than who? Your parents, your children, and والناس أجمعين, and whole of mankind. And then after explaining this hadith to him, I went on to the second hadith. Because after explaining this hadith to him, he said, you know, that's a very difficult task. You know, for me to love someone more than my parents, my own children. He didn't talk about the one Nasi Ajma'in, he left it just on two parts. The how can I love someone more than my parents? And I gave him examples. And these examples that unfortunately in this very town, you have individuals who go against these examples. They not entirely go against these examples, is because they're like a glass of water. You know, once a glass of water is full and you try filling it up again, what happens? It spills out, doesn't it? That's the same problem with these individuals. You try to tell them as much love, you try to teach them as much haqq and hubb and muhabba Rasulullah alayhi salatu wa salam, it's just going to go over them. It's going to carry on going over them. Hence why the shield of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah are the likes that are sitting here before us. And the likes of the ones that have already spoken before us. So I gave this individual some examples. And one of the greatest examples that I can give you today, as is Bilal Sharif. So I'm going to teach you today some basic examples when it comes to Hubba Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, when it comes to Muhabba Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, when it comes to Ishq and love Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Because I tell you, after this, right at the end, I will ask you, is there limit when it comes to love Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam? And I'm going to start off with the most basic one. You should all remember this. And those of you who got pens and notepads, I know Allah, when he comes up, he's got many books that you can see behind. And I expect some of you, or majority of you all have iPhones nowadays. You go to HTC, I've got an iPhone, so I'm an iPhone fan. If you've got an iPhone, take out your notepad, start jotting these things down. Because the time will come when you'll go out there, like Allah was mentioning earlier on, that there were individuals who used to talk against these najlis of today. And now they're with them. Now they're calling the likes of Murtaza Khan over. It's embarrassing just to say the word Khan to me. Because it's embarrassing those Khans out there, and this is embarrassing that Allah has Imam Ahmad Raza Khan alayhi. So I think Murtaza Bayman is the best name for him. Not even Murtaza, of course, even Murtaza is not right for him. We just call him the Bayman. So, you have these individuals, so you have to answer back to them. So the example that I give you, I will start off first with the Nur of Rasulullah alayhi salatu Mujaddid al-Fadl, Shaykh Hindi, the one who challenged Akbar with his sword in hand, writes in al-Maktubat. And what does he write in there? He goes, first Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before creating anything and everything, created the Nur, created the light, created the Nur. What Nur? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nowadays you hear the scientists talk about the Big Bang. The Big Bang theory. That there was this flash of light. To some extent it's true. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created first what? Nur. It's mentioned al-Mahbubat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the Nur first. Then put this Nur and divided it into how many parts? 4 parts. First Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the first part of the Nur and created the Arsh. Then the second part Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the Qalam. Then the third part Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the Tablet. And then the fourth part was subdivided. When this fourth part was subdivided, the planets were created, the universe was created, the earth was created, the trees were created, the stars were created, the land that you walk on was created, the mud and water of today that you see was created, the water that you drink was created, all from this Nur. So in Al-Maktubat, Shaykh Hindi writes that the Nur that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, the Big Bang that these so-called scientists call, is a Nur of who? Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Hence, the Nur that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created was a Nur of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. The Nur of the Arsh that was created was a Nur of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. The Nur of the Qalam, the Nur of the Tablet was Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. The Nur of this universe, the Nur of the planets, the Nur of the stars, the Nur that you see around us, the Nur on the very floor that you walk upon, the Nur on the very ground that you walk upon, the Nur in which you consume what? The Nur of water, the Nur of our existence, all what? Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So, that's the first part. For us, that should be enough. As Ashiq of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, when the question was asked, how much should I love Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, that should be enough. Because our existence depended on what? The coming of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So when I give an example of Nur, this is Milad Sharif. How this is Milad Sharif? The Milad, everything that you walk upon, the ground that you walk upon, the water that you consume, everything was created from the Nur of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Hence, everything is celebrating what? The Milad, the birth of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Second example I gave you. He was satisfied but not satisfied enough. The second example that I gave him, what great example can I give than the companions of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam? Khalid bin Walid. Who was Khalid bin Walid? He was that individual that raised his hands in dua, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they are being martyred in the path of Islam. May I sacrifice everything in the path of Islam. When Khalid bin Walid was in the battlefield, when Khalid bin Walid radiallahu ta'ala was on the battlefield, and whilst he was on his horse, he's watching his army, sword in hand, blood everywhere, on the ground, on the sword, on each other. What did Khalid bin Walid stop? He stopped. He's mounted on his horse and he stopped. And he puts his hands to his head. And he realizes what's missing. He's blessed in Mama. Khalid bin Walid's Imam Sharif is missing. Where has it gone? Khalid bin Walid, what does he do? Picture this in your mind. Just picture it for a moment. Battle has commenced. All soldiers, his own soldiers, the opposition, both have sword in hand, fighting amongst each other. Now Khalid bin Walid, what does he do? He puts down his sword. He goes onto the ground, he dismounts himself from the horse, gets on his knees, and he starts searching for his blessed Imam Sharif. And now, picture this. What is he scrummaging through? Blood everywhere. He's been covered himself. Mud everywhere because of the ground. He's searching for this Imam Sharif. What's so blessed about this Imam Sharif? Eventually he reaches and he sees this Imam Sharif. He approaches the Imam Sharif. He picks up the Imam Sharif. Now he does not put it onto his head. Instead he holds it close to him. He goes crawling back to his horse. As he mounts the horse, Khalid bin Walid takes the Imam Sharif, unties the Imam Sharif, and removes the blessed hair of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam. As he removes the blessed hair of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam, he kisses it, places it back in the turban, tightens up the turban, and then he puts the blessed Imam Sharif back on his head and commences with his battlefield. Now the question can be asked, why was he not shaheed? After all these years, Khalid bin Walid raised his hands in dua, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for martyrdom. But the reason why he wasn't martyred was he had the blessed hair of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam on his forehead. In his best, Imam Sharif, numerous examples. Look the lights of Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala. You know, the second example of Khalid bin Walid should be enough for a person to take in and love Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam to the extent that you do fall in a state of worship. Third example of Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. When Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam had to leave and go alongside with Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, they reached the cave. I would prolong the story, I don't want to so much precise detail because of the short time. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam and Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, they reached this cave. Before entering the cave, Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu says to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam that let me enter first. Let me see if this cave is capable enough to hold us both. Let me see if there's not any blemishes in there, or any insects, or scorpions, or snakes, or anything. Or if there's any holes, I will cover it. So Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam is standing outside. Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu enters the cave. As Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu enters the cave, Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu starts removing parts of his clothing. Starts removing parts of his clothing. To do what? To cover up the patches within the cave. So every hole is being patched up, so no insects can come out of there until there was one hole there. And to this end, Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu told himself, I'll place my breast in my head. And in some narration says, the toe of Sayyidina Abu Siddiq. So Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu goes to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam and calls them in. And as Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu sits down, they place their breast here in this very hole. And then Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam places their blessed head upon the knee of Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu so they can rest and sleep. Behind this hole, what is in there? Remember, Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu removed parts of his clothing to cover up the holes inside his cave. And as he covered up, there was one left. So Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu I'll place my own here. Do you think you can do that for anyone else? That you start ripping your own clothing to cover up patches? If we see a patch, we're going to be staring at it thinking to ourselves, you know, this man ain't, he's not that good when it comes to patching up his house building. He needs to call some builders with it. But never will start removing your own clothing to fill up any patches. So Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu anhu is sitting there with the blessed head of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam resting on his own lap. Here inside this one hole, and what's behind this one hole? A snake. This snake is hitting his own head against the head of Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu until it comes to a point where it bites Sayyidina Abu Siddiq. Now, if it was us, what would we do? If a wasp comes before us, what do we do? We start flapping our hands everywhere, trying to get rid of this wasp, to get away from it. We will start running to some extent. But Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu sat, did not move an inch. Why? Was it because of the pain that was going through their body after being bit by the snake? No. Was it because they were uncomfortable with their hair inside that hole, so nothing could come out? No. It's so they did not want to disturb Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam because of his head was on their very grave. So, time went by, and whilst Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam was resting, Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, one of the tears fell on the cheek of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam. And as soon as this tear fell on the breast cheek of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam, the Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam, they woke up and sat up, and they looked at Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and they saw, what did they see? They saw pain in the face of Sayyidina Abu Siddiq. They saw pain in his eyes. So Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam, being the Messenger of Allah, being rahmatan lil alameen, being a mercy to all mankind. Now Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala wanted to do, he could have called anyone, a doctor, a surgeon, anyone to come and sort this pain out. But the love the Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu not just had even till today, has for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, was beyond any cure that any doctor and any surgeon can do. Even then, even till today. So Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu still sat there in calm, with tears gushing from their eyes. But Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, the blessed of Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, placed the blessed fiber on the very hill, and then within instantly it was cured. Now Sayyidina Abu Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu being in pain couldn't call any physician, but that much love, that respect, that much izzah, that much muhabba, that much hubb for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, that did not move an inch. He said the trust of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Subhanallah. This is love. This is muhabba. If you look around you, in this very town, you have such a great movement. Was the Sunni movement of Warsaw? Warsaw Sunni movement, other way around. Warsaw Sunni movement. You got enough brothers here. We got enough youngsters. Those of you under 30, raise your hand. Under 30. MashaAllah. Over 30? MashaAllah. Then we have the youngsters as well. So for this movement, how much are you doing? Question yourself this. If on one side you have a place in which the likes of, I don't want to say his name anymore. You know who I'm talking about, that deviant individual. Bayman. You have him on one side. And then on the other side, you have the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. You have also Sunni movement. Question yourself, how much are you doing? What are you doing? Why are we sitting here while some are going over there? What is our duty today? Our duty today is when we leave those doors, and some who will leave these doors, is not to go home, reminisce this day, sit there, talk to our wives, our sisters, or our brothers at home, or our parents, and say to, well, you know, so-and-so came on to stay, he said this, he said that, and then there were a couple of naat that came and did with their naat and then sat back down. That's not your duty. You do that part, but then there's a second part. Those individuals who attacked Rasulullah alayhi salatu, those individuals who try to discourage the youngsters of today and try to drive them away from the love of Rasulullah alayhi salatu, those are the individuals that you should be going towards. Don't be scared. That is one of the most important things that all of you should remember. All of us should remember. That do not have any fear inside you. If there's any individual that you should fear, if there's anyone that you should fear, it's none other than our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So do not fear when you walk out of here and you see someone from the other side, from the deviant ways, and you try to cross paths and try to avoid them. That's a duty of shaitan. You know why I say that? When Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu used to walk, who used to cross the other side? Shaitan. In fear of who? Was Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Hence why Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam said that if there was to be any prophet after me, it would have been who? Sayyidina Umar Farooq. But this earth could not be able to handle it. Why? Because of the iman of Sayyidina Umar Farooq. So do not cross paths. Do not avoid them. Go up to them. Say to them, look, this is what I heard you say. This is our reply to what you say. Say subhanallah. It's like you're worried already. Why are you getting scared for it? You know, if the likes of the ulama standing here and they're openly challenging such individuals, then you know, it's not just for us. There's no doubt that Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the scholars, are sure it is our duty, is our fard, for us to protect you. But as much as we're supposed to protect you, there's always individuals amongst us that should always go out there and say, yeah, you said something about my beloved Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam. You had the nerve to open your mouth and use that tongue of yours against Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam. Let me give you your answer back. Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhahu al-kareem. You all know one individual he was. Subhanallah. That individual who stood before the gates of heaven, and when he knocked down the gates of heaven and stood on top of the gates of heaven, what did Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhahu al-kareem say to the Yahudi? The Yahudi asked him, how could you, how is it possible that something which takes more than 1,000 men to live, be able to knock it down? Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhahu al-kareem said, it wasn't my strength that knocked down the gates of heaven, it was my iman that knocked down the gates of heaven. So make your iman strong. So Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhahu al-kareem was in the gathering, and this individual came up to him and he said, Ya Ali, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done much love for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, then why is it in Kalima Sharif? First it says, La ilaha illallah, and then Muhammad Rasulullah. Surely if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done much love for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, it would be Muhammad Rasulullah first. It's true. You know the stories of Layla Majnun. You know all the stories. Romeo and Juliet. Look what he did. She drank the poison. He drank the poison. Was gone. I think it was in one woke up and then something like that along those lines. But so this individual came to Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhahu al-kareem, and he said to him, Ya Ali radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done much love for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, then why in the Kalima Sharif is La ilaha illallah first and not Muhammad Rasulullah? Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhahu al-kareem replied that first of all, you have to purify your tongue by saying La ilaha illallah. Once it's purified enough, only then you are worthy of saying Muhammad Rasulullah. Once your tongue is purified enough by saying La ilaha illallah, only then you are worthy enough to say Muhammad Rasulullah. Subhanallah. Now question yourselves. How much are you supposed to love Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam? Is there a limit? Obviously, we do not go to the extent that you start worshipping the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No. We have love for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. There's a huge difference between worshipping and loving. What do? We have ishq, we have muhabba, we have love, we have hope for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Hence why we are gathered here today. You know, one of the most easiest way of recognizing a true ashiq of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam is when you look at their faces. When you look at an ashiq, you see so much nur on the individual's face. It's unbelievable. Whether he's clean shaved, whether he has a beard, whether he's black, whether he's white, whether he's Chinese, whether he's from Africa, it doesn't matter who they are. When you look at ashiq's face, ashiq, what do I mean by ashiq? Ashiq of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. When you look at their faces, you see so much nur. But when you look at these different individuals, when you look at them, the first thing that comes to your mind is, what went wrong? It's true. You look at them and you think to yourself, what went wrong? Where did your parents go wrong with you? You know, did they drop you when you were a child? What went wrong? If you're true ashiqs, true lovers of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, raise your hand today. If you have that much love for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, brother Said to Allah today. Nara Takbir! this one naam. And you will never ever forget about this one naam. Hassan bin Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu. This will be the last point, inshallah. Hassan bin Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu is that individual that when he entered Masjid al-Nabawi, what did he do? Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam on his way, on the Minbar Sharif, delivering their talk, their khutbah. In comes Hassan bin Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And whilst they were walking in, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam started to climb down. And they looked towards Hassan bin Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and they said to Hassan bin Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu, to stand in my position, to climb the Minbar Rasul, stand in the same position where I was standing, and read to us some poetry. Any poetry of your choice. Hassan bin Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu, with his head down. Why? Because of respect of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Climbs the Minbar Sharif, stands in the spot of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, looks towards the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, tears begin to flow from his blessed face, from his blessed eyes. And whilst looking at Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, what were the only words that could flow from his very tongue? وَأَحْسَنَ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَرَكَبْتُ عَيْنِي يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ وَأَجْمَلَ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَلِدِ النِّسَاءِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. I have never seen no beauty, such beauty of Messenger of Allah, and no woman has given such birth as Messenger of Allah. Look at the beauty. Now I mentioned a few points in regards to loving Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. I'm going to end it with one final, well, two final points. In return, how Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam showed love to others as well. One is learning from the companions how to love Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Then the other part is, how did the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam show that love towards others as well? Hazrat Halima Sa'd radiyallahu ta'ala anha, the foster mother of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Once the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam was standing on the Minbar Sharif, they were delivering a sermon. And the Sahaba were walking in, and this one individual walked in with a cloak over. And whilst they had the cloak over them, the face could not be seen. But they walked in. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam climbed down the Minbar Sharif. As they climbed down the Minbar Sharif, they went up to this individual and they took off their own blessed company. Their own blessed company. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam removed it, placed it on the ground, and asked this individual to sit on the very blessed company of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam placed on the blessed company, and this individual sat down, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went back on the Minbar Sharif. They stood on the Minbar Sharif, started their sermon, and as they finished their sermon, the blessed individual stood up. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam quickly calmed down and went grabbed their company, put their around them, and walked this individual out of Masjid al-Nabawi. And as they walked them out, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam was walking back, and the companions asked, "O Messenger of Allah, never have we ever seen you come down the Minbar Sharif for anyone. But who is this individual that not only you came down the Minbar Sharif, but you removed your own cloak, you removed your own blessed company and placed it on the ground for this individual to sit down." But Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam said that individual who entered, that individual who I came down for, that individual who I placed my blessed company on the very ground for that individual to sit down, that individual whom, when I finished my talk, when I finished my khutbah, came down for, picked up my own company and walked out, was none other than my foster mother, alayhi radiyallahu anha. There you see, a true lion of Islam, a lion of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, right in front of you. If such children can do say such wordings, then who are the elders like us to stay quiet? So look at the love that Rasulullah showed. And the final example I'm going to give you is that of Sayyidah Aisha radiyallahu anha. Once Rasulullah was watching the Habashis, they used to do something called a spear throw. It used to be a thing they used to throw the spear at each other and they used to catch it. So this was something that Rasulullah used to enjoy watching. Whilst Rasulullah was stood there watching this, with the rest of the companions sitting around, and some of their wives were there as well, Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha walked in. Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha walked in, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked over their shoulder and they looked forward again. As they were looking forward, Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha came and stood by their side. As Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha stood by their side, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam knelt down. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, what did they do? They knelt down. As they knelt down, Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha placed her breast chin and her cheek next to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam on their shoulder. So Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam is getting down. So the level of Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. So she can place her breast cheek next to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Then Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam asked, Ya Aisha, are you tired? Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam is asking Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, are you tired? She said, no. She said, La, Ya Rasulullah. No, O Messenger of Allah. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked again, are you tired? And to this she said, La, I'm not tired. Then for the third time when Rasulullah asked her, Ya Aisha, are you tired? Only then she looked towards the Messenger of Allah and she said, Ya Rasulullah, now I'm tired. So Rasulullah waited for Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha to lift her blessed chin from the shoulder of Rasulullah and then Sayyidah Aisha looked towards the Messenger of Allah and asked for ijazah to go. And to this Rasulullah said that you may leave, O Rosie. Oh my Rosie, you know those individuals say you can't have names for each other and things like that. Sayyidah Aisha was her name. Aisha was her name. Yet Rasulullah at times would call her my Rosie. Subhanallah, look at Allah. So why Sayyidah Aisha anha is walking away and why is Messenger stood there in their place? But why is the surrounding Sayyidah Aisha? And they ask, oh Aisha, Rasulullah was asking you time and time again, that are you tired, are you tired, are you tired? Did you not understand what Rasulullah was trying to say to you? Sayyidah Aisha says that I know the Messenger was tired. I know the Messenger was standing in a position that was very uncomfortable. But for me, the reason I did not leave is so I can show you how much love Rasulullah has for me. For the fact that they did not say that I'm tired, can you go now? Instead, because they showed their love, their hope, their muhabbat towards me, but showing to everyone that let me ask her if she's tired. I do not disturb my wife, my blessed wife, while she rests her chin and her cheek next to mine. Instead, I'll ask her if she's tired. This is love. This is the way Rasulullah showed love and muhabbat. For us to learn. One is showing love to Rasulullah and the other is reading and learning about how the Messenger showed love towards everyone around them. So my brothers, for whatever I've said today, take it, hold on to it, because at this very moment in time, the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah take in Allah, but they don't hold on to it. And the prime examples that you have in front of you are the ulama. English-speaking ulama. There used to be a time where a lot of youngsters used to complain that there's no events going on, there's no English-speaking ulama. They are growing fast. You've got some in the ages of in the 90s, the 20s onwards. Myself, I'm only 25. I know I'm 18, so I'm 25. So build up this love within you for Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Because if you do not build it up within you today, then in the future, not only are you going to fail, but your children are going to fail as well. Love your children, show them the love of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, the same way the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam showed towards Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. How do they show their love? By always kissing them and caressing them. When one of the companions of Rasulullah asked, O Messenger of Allah, I have never kissed, I have never hugged any of my children. Why is it I see you doing? And Rasulullah replied to this, that I love Hassan as if they're mine. And if I do not show them love today, when I grow old, who's going to look after me and kiss me and hug me when I'm at that old age? So spread that love amongst you, spread it around you, and whatever you do, if you see individuals of the other sect, the other deviant sect, approach them, say to them, ask them, so what is it that you have against Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam? Be a true light, be a true ashiq of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam. Stand before them, raise the questions, answer the questions. And I'm going to end this talk on Subhanallah, when Allah Hazrat Imam Ahmad Rada Khan, alayhi Rahman, stood before the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam's darbar. Whilst in Masjid prayed, they were stood there with their head down. And what was the only thing that was flowing from their tongue? Chamak mukh se baatein hain sab aane wale. Chamak mukh se baatein hain sab aane wale. Mera dil bhi chamka de, chamkane wale. And while standing before the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah Hazrat, the only words that could flow from their tongue that you can read from the Hidayat Bakshish of today is Tu zinda hai Allah, Tu zinda hai Allah, Tu zinda hai Allah, Tu zinda hai Allah. Mere chashme alam se chup jaane wale. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate all of your statuses in this world and in the hereafter with the hubb Allah wa Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. Aquli qawli hadha wa astaghfirullahi wa lakum.